Have you ever felt?
Are you listening?
I ain't say nothing. Hey, y'all, what's going on? Y'all don't I sound like a nasal netty? I don't know, nasal Nina, some shit like that. Anywho, y'all, I'm in here so that we can go ahead and talk about the underground. Now, let me also inform y'all that I have graced my way over to see them motherfucking, I don't know what to call these, Dallas hoes. But I kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt, honey, but y'all remember, I believe I said it in the video, maybe it's on Periscope somewhere, whatever, however, that I said I knew exactly what they were going to be. It was going to be a group of, mistresses of the big house on the Black Desert. And they did not fail me at all. I knew it was going to be a whole bunch. I hope I don't get another wrinkle on my face. Botox need my motherfucking face snatched. You know, just controlling ass, hazing ass. Ugh. But it is going to be my pleasure to review that show. After I'll talk about what began that show. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, really? Really? It's a strain. It better be a strain. Oh, what am I? Is it? Oh! No, it's a strain. It might have been, y'all. Wait a minute. Oh, Lord, is it a strain? Jesus. Anywho. So, let's get into this one. Now, I'm not as emotional as I was last week, and I think I did a good job talking about it, considering what was going through my head as I made that damn video. Because, if I would have said, if I would have said everything I was feeling, babies. So, let's get it. So, we know they still on the run and shit. You know, she didn't kill old girl, all of that. Now, when we come into this one, we're not going to go blow by blow, but when we come into this one, let's come into it talking about, what? It's in there. Let's come in it talking about the head mistress of the house, the wife, is upstairs having, y'all almost said having a puppy, but we're going to move forward, okay? We're just going to move past that. I want to kind of talk about that. Well, should I go there? Maybe I shouldn't go there. Y'all, it's just so many different ways I can go. Maybe y'all can just kind of follow me and fuck with me on this. I want to go to that because I think this is an important part for me to talk about what's going on there. Now, in the midst of this, you know, before it's all said and done, before they get to this, you have the house mistress, the mother that's trying to save her children, whom did the very first hazing and, you know, silly ass shit, just dumb shit by killing old girl last week. Okay, well, I'm just saying. And so, excuse me, y'all. So, she's sitting in there, and you thinking she's making a glass for her, a little whiskey, a little vermouth, or something, whatever the bitch putting in there. And I'm thinking, okay, she gonna get this ready for whomever, it's two of them. Honey, she jugs back and throws back one. Meanwhile, this new slave comes in. But he looks like maybe he's the butler, the first black butler ever. And I'm looking at him, and he comes in with what looks to be an easel. Remember that easel? And he comes in, but he sees her drinking that. And she's like, for some reason, she feels a tidbit comfortable. Now, remember that. And she drunk it down and got it together. And here comes the master. And here comes this motherfucking demon. Whoa! I seen him when he came in the room, babies. The motherfucking demon. Okay, I see you underground. I see what we gonna set the tone for this time. Now we're gonna get into the whole thing of how your religion, white religion, was put on blacks. I'm just saying, we're gonna touch it all. We're gonna touch it all. Even the Quakers, honey. Even them motherfucking Moonies, even them motherfucking sick inbred motherfucking, the beginning of the Quakers. I don't know if they inbred now, but I'm saying the beginning way back when, colonies and things of this nature. Them. Lord, y'all, we might mess around and see John Smith in this shit since we got some made up motherfucking religions and shit in the play. Shit, we might. Anywho. And there's just be another one to add to it. So, up jumps the motherfucking devil. Now, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all what I thought when I seen the butler, the first butler ever come in. I thought, now, is this, because I was looking at him, there was something different about him, even in his character, his stature, and the way it was. And I said, now, y'all remember when I said, are they about to get us to dabbling into, since they're bringing things in, are we about to find out about, Haiti and all, and, and the whole voodoo shit, and the papa poo-poo, I'm just saying now, y'all might think much love now, I don't know now, girl, I don't know. Ride with me, fuck with me. I looked at him and I said, So, the master sitting down with this motherfucking demon who came in there carrying what I got to believe was an empty Bible, honey. Now, y'all, we know this is a show or whatever. I just don't know if the demons can carry the real word. Now, it's got to be 2 or 3 pages it took out so it wouldn't be full. Of course, we know. Now, it doesn't have to be. Now, let me go back. Because it doesn't have to be, I guess. Because we clearly know, that the slavery and all the brutality that was done according to them, because of what they had read in the Bible. And again, we have another group of people that will not read the paragraph before or after. Yes, they spoke about slaves. They also spoke about them working for and how they should be treated, yada, yada, yada. The gist of it that I get is that I guess that word was used, but it was almost like that's who we work for. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we working for this corporation or whatever. You know, y'all can leave your thoughts on that shit, but clearly they took and ran with that shit, you know, and somewhere in there it must have said, or maybe they seen as they was looking, oh yeah, by God, Jim, it said slaves here, by God. And then it says to hang some slaves. Look at here, Bob. Get hang. Doesn't that say hang some slaves? Rape all the black women that we get. They lower than dogs and this and that and the other. They subhuman, but we, oh, wait a minute. Now, does that say even though they lower than dogs and dirt and filth and all that, we can still put our dick in them? Oh. Hank, we got a loophole here. Yeah, we got a loophole. Ain't that some shit? So, of course, I knew that that something of that nature was going to come up. He's sitting there, and he's raking old dude over the coals. Now, we know that he is trying to get a position in the Senate and this and that, or whatever he's trying to be in the third. So, he is letting this demon, or whatever it is, Beelzebub, come in there and treat him like he's a guest in his own house. In other words, Master's over there squirming and shit, and this just attests to the fact that he ain't nothing but a big old bitch. Pussy whipped. No heart. At the end of the day, his evilness and his brutalness is all tied in to his lack thereof. But we'll move forward. He is talking to him, and he's like, you know, and you can hear the wife, and he's like, I read. The devil, Beelzebub said, do you read the word to them? And he said, I try to read every Sunday. He said, do you read it to the slaves too? Now, I want you to read it to the slaves, because I told Hank and them what was in there, and I need them to know that there is a loophole in there, that even though it's the Lord's word and one baptism, one this, and the goodness of Christ, I need them to know that, I need them to see that word. And know that everything that comes beyond it, everything that we do to you, every kind of way we rape, pillage, and misuse you, it's only because of what we read in there, even though that's not what you read, but clearly in your delusional ass, fucked up ass, delayed, subpar, negative ass. Now, I don't believe that y'all should act like that just because yo motherfucking, you know what, y'all about to, I'm going to say this, and I'm talking to these people that was doing the slavery, you know, doing this and they started this, but just because your motherfucking skin wrinkles at the rate and expires at the rate of a gallon of milk, bitch, don't mean you got to be that evil. Now, just deal with the shit that you've been dealt. Deal with it. But like I said, I think earlier in my video, I understand why you don't want us to know our greatness, but moving forward. So, he's like, did you? I want you. And then he's like, he's giving him, the master's giving this whole week Christian God fearing. Now, did y'all check the part where he was like, we as Quakers, we, you know, they meet and this and that and other. He let him know, oh, this would be a great meeting place. And he pauses for a minute and said, oh, I'll have the desk taken out of here. And thank you very much. And could you kick me in my ass again? And when he's saying, sitting in God fearing and this and that and the third, he begins to hear, after he said that, you hear her up and saying, get this damn baby out of me. You know, and he's like, hopefully I'm sure it was like, hopefully you'll forget that, because, you know, when they go through that, it's just treacherous what they're going through, whatever, moving forward. So, he said, once he found out it was a boy, he said, you know, good, and this and that and other, and then Beelzebub said, good blessings, and this and that and other. What better way, you know, and the master said, well, let's have a baptism. Let's baptize all the slaves, too. He want that motherfucking position bad. So, as they talking, it's like, okay, good. And Miss Honey Cabbage, who under normal circumstances, if they was free and they was underneath the house, she would have him in bondage, stepping in his back with a red ball in his mouth. She said, excuse me, begging pardon, master, don't you think right now it'd be a little cold in the water? And immediately the motherfucking Beelzebub looked at her like, oh, this bitch doing talking. You know that's what he was in his head, like, I know this nigga bitch ain't said nothing. Now how could she presume that she could say some shit? This is pure white man in here. And she's just gonna talk. Y'all, let me tell y'all some other kiki. Y'all notice that they wear white gloves when they hand them stuff and prepare that shit? I guess they don't want their black hands to deliver nothing to them, and white being what they deem in their mind to be supreme. Now, supremacist, yeah, because y'all end up getting that supremacist attitude. Now, remember again, that I'm speaking to this. Actually, I could be speaking. I'm speaking to that era, those folks that did that. And since we're in this Trump realm of whites only pies, make America great again, I'm speaking to this era as well. So, if you whites only pie, if you feel supreme because you are melanin deficient, now, some would say, why would you, stop. I'm just saying, if you're watching this video and you have a white supremacist kind of spirit, yeah, I'm talking about you. But if you are a normal human being of whatever hue that you are, then you get where I'm going with this. And you don't feel like you are being exercised and whipped and beaten, this and that and other, okay? Let's move forward. Now, we had that. And I'm like, there go the devil. Now let's ooze on to where they running and shit. Now can somebody tell me, y'all, let me tell y'all, when she was pissing in that damn ground and she got up, I was like, girl, you didn't try to get a leaf or nothing. Y'all see what they had to go through? Honey, that was enough right there. For me, oh, Jesus, I just thought I was going to itch to death, but Lord, long as she make it over, Jesus. And she's kind of sitting there and, you know, doing the whole thing. And, you know, you can see she's in thought just in that and the third. And she begins, after she does that, she climbs over something else. But y'all notice the whole time, she is watching the perimeter. She's looking at this, looking at that, you know. And she hears gun when she's trying to take his nasty ass, might be pissed in water, and drink it. She hears a gunshot. Then you see the rest of them running. This fool trying to get water, that youngest one, but they hungry. They ain't ate in weeks, they running. You know what I mean? They ain't ate, and I instantly start thinking, now when's she gonna figure out a bush for them to eat? The bitch know how to poison the dogs and shit now. I'm just saying now, girl, ain't no bush. Now, come on now, you know. But I understood. Now they frustrated. You know what I'm saying? They hungry, they tired, they don't know which way it's going to go because obviously they didn't get to do the thing that they wanted to do. So they hiding and shit, and it's like, what we going to do? Blah, 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 blah. And they happen to hear what I'm assuming would be the first gambling boat or first whole boat ever. You know, they said, you know, it's this old, you know, show, not showgirls, but saloon girls, and, you know, the hills have eyes, man, and, you know, all of that, and they hear him and they get down and shit. Now they got this gun with one motherfucking bullet in it. And all of their stature. And they gonna go for this shit. Now I'm in my shit like, ooh, make sure y'all got it now. Get a stick or something. Come on now, shave something, get a point on it, throw it. I'm just trying to understand. Okay. And they overtake them. You know, they throw their ass out because they, you know, they throw them back and take them back. But first of all, these niggas is free. And I know that ain't a nigga with a gun. All we got to get the fuck up through. And you know, even the white horse was clutching their pearls like, I might be a whore, I might say a pussy, but I just will not be raped by a black man. I only rape black men. Listen, you better know a couple of them on there was back Betty. Y'all, Jesus. Woo! I don't know why this episode had me on an emotional roller coaster, and I had to take me a Benadryl, so it could have something to do with it too. Anyway, so I'm like, they gone and they push the last one off. So they in there, they in the thing. Now let's stop there. Now, let's go back to the father and the son. Now they catch up to them, and they on this motherfucking boat and shit, and they see him. He's got this gun or whatever on him, and you know, he's watching. He's like, keep your eyes on him or whatever. He done got on the boat, is rustling, tussling. First thing he goes for is her, because they gonna get double for her. He wants her back because that's his daughter, like I told y'all it was. They get to tussling or whatever. He throws her in instantly. Now, is this where the whole thing of blacks can't swim come from? They sink and they drown. Now, I like that they added this in here, because here's the whole thing. Of course they wouldn't have allowed them to swim. You know, I know how I would have put that fear in them or whatever, because that meant they would have left, and God knows they couldn't have picked their own cotton. Child, and you know them motherfucking wives couldn't have took care of their own kids and fed them their own milk now. Honey, who's gonna feed them? Fuck out of her. Anyway, so they, you know, it's you know, they tussling or whatever. He got this gun and shit, and the one with the burnt up face that I can't stand with his rotten ass. He's like trying to get him, and she's going down, and he's hoping she ain't gonna drown, and they tussling and shit. And I'm still trying to understand the fear in them. I know he had the gun, but it did not let them wring his motherfucking neck. It did not let them, as he was running to get her, jump on his back and end his ass. It's just still the fear in him. So it looks like she done went down and shit, but honey, turns out she didn't. She was all right. She swam, and they like, woo, master, no, you swimming? You know what I mean? On some shit like that. They shocked. They can't believe she can swim. Now, when she's swimming away, old dude, the white dude who got the crazy ass bitch wife or sick bitch wife, and crazy is what I'm assuming, because it looked like at hospital that they went to on one scene, look, you know, at the end when they showing what's gonna come up next, look like she in a loony bin. So, but I still say fuck her. But let's move forward. Old dude, Moses shoots her. I think it's Moses. Yeah, he shoots her. Him. And gets him, and that enables her to be able to get on. They throw the rope or whatever, and they get away. Now the white dude, he gets out of the water and shit, and he's kind of, it's like, Paul, you okay, this, that, and other. And y'all, it's tension between him and his son, because his son is seeing the true treachery and no goodness in his ass. Now, as they doing that, at one point the son was supposed to have been writing, you know, this letter or whatever, and he said, you writing good things like, are you writing and telling her that I'm murdering blacks and I'm doing all of this, and the only way you stand in that cuckoo business because I'm catching these slaves out here, you know. And he was like, yeah, okay. Now we know his ass can't read. Why do we know he can't read and can't write? Because remember when he was in that post office and he was doing that telegram and having that one read to him, so we know his ass can't read and stuff. Okay, let's move forward. Going back to, they was either, if they didn't own plantation, they wasn't shit anyway. So it's a bit of class warfare and all of that. They was dirt poor, hillbillies or whatever, they either gonna man that motherfucking whip, and I guess that made them feel like they had nothing in the whole while being envious of this man that looks just like them. And somewhere in their heart at some point, these whites only pies, these ones, you know, the heels have eyes, one had to be looking at them other ones, thinking, I could just kill this motherfucker right now. You know what I'm saying? So anywho, so he get his shirt on, they getting ready to go or whatever, and here comes this hoe running out of there like, you know, I jumped off and got away, the niggas and this and that and the third. So the little boy's like looking at her like, ooh, her good at gumdrops is all that. He's like, Pa, we can't leave her. We can't leave her. She got titties, you know. So they let her, and he's like, okay, she can ride with you. So they kind of riding or whatever, and the father notices what I knew and what I said. Our story runs a thread. If you talk about anything that happens in the United States, or what it is called now, America, whatever, you can't talk about that without the Indians because this was theirs. So he begins to see these different colors, and I'm like, Lord, I hope the Indians free his ass and skin his ass. And then I'm like, Lord, but do the child need to be killed? And then I said, well, did them other black kids need to be killed? And I was just like, well, fuck it, it is what the fuck it is, you know. And so he instantly, father gets off, and he like takes his shirt off or whatever. The son got the gun when he sees him, and he's telling them not to put it away, and he begins to talk in their language. See, again, us, the Indians, did not know the treachery of this kind of animal and exactly what they would do. Now, somebody, probably old dude who been taking care of his son, taught him that, because otherwise his ass wouldn't have known. But he done got him, who done been with the Indians, who done taught him the different ways or whatever. And he said this shit, and they all cut him. And, you know, it was about if they blood is on his spirit, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to worry about him, whatever the case may be, and they let his ass go with them cuts and shit. So I'm like, what the hell? You know, and he explained that out to the son. Now, let's, for a minute, get off of that. Let's ooze on up north, where even though they were up north, it seemed like you had freedom, but they was hunting you just as bad. See, they didn't want you up north either. You know what I mean? I know who started the emancipation. Do I think that he meant to do it that way? Come on now, he had slaves too. But whomever y'all need to think is great. But, you know, it's kind of like saying, you should thank me for being able to go, you know, breathe the oxygen or even look at a leaf on a tree when it ain't even yours to give anyway. But okay. So, child, for a minute there, I just envisioned myself reading his ass and his hat for dust. I did. I was just lost then. Anyway, so we done had all that shit. Now let's go up north. Now, you got old girl in the house. They moving forward, you know, in this kind of way. You know, that's how it started, was kind of the letter reading and things is going well. And you get to see how they kind of had things coded. And I knew what the lantern was and in the window and this and that and the third. And it's looking like she's really pulling together this nursery and all of that. But I wonder if y'all notice how powerful it was, what the intent was, I guess, from the producer to show him digging up that dirt, and as he's bending over with lashes on his back, how deep that was, or how deep he intended on it being. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I just kind of horned in on that. And so you get to see how they're getting it done, this and that and other. As that happens, there's a knock at the door, and there's that sorry sack of shit that wants to be married to that woman, but he didn't want her ass. He goes in there and says that slaves have been, you know, getting away, and ain't nothing between this and that and the third, this house with your house, yada, yada, this and that and other. But before that, he said to her, how have you been? And that's the same okay you gave. And in that man's house, as me and my husband was watching it, my husband like, snake motherfucker, you know, in that man's house, touching his wife. Hand and shit. And I thought, Lord Jesus, that couldn't have been my husband, because he'd have jumped down that motherfucker steps. Like, motherfucker, I know you lost your mind. You know, but he's like, you know, he was on that step. You know, he was just wrong. But he knows something, and I know he's on to them. He feels like he is helping, aiding, you know, the slaves and things. And he said, well, the marshal said that we need, you know, he asked him if he has a gun, and he says no, and he said, well, my duty now under the marshal, that everybody have a gun and this, that, and other, and basically putting him in this shit to seize and get these slaves and shit. You know, putting him in a position, you know, but he has to do it. He has to. There's no one or two ways about it. And I know that they know he's suspicious as hell. So they have to go out. Before they go, there's this whole scene where they talking, and he's talking to the wife, and they going back and forth, and, you know, and the whole, you know, at one point it's about the cargo, and we got to protect it, and blah, 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 you know, and he goes anyway. Now, the rest of the men walked on. Now, get this conversation. It was, I would imagine, either way it went with those men that they were with, which was the same thing I was trying to tell y'all. This is the same group of men. This is what we have now. This is the beginning of what I believe to be Trump's lineage and anybody else that's the KKK. Please understand, to me, that is the beginning. That is the beginning of every supremacist right there. Because I don't care what no motherfucker say. Yeah, of course, some of them are rich or whatever, but most, the deep root, the hate, the motherfuckers that hate the most, and really it's out of fear, and I do agree that you have a reason to be fearful, are usually the whites only pies, the heels have eyes. They ain't got a pot to piss in. Just as soon fuck their grandmama and have a baby with her than to do something that's right. I'm just saying, just them kind of motherfuckers. That's what we looking at. right there on the show. That's what they constitute to me. So, it's like no matter what he do, you know, the trash that he's with, and old dude's glad to put him in that position. There's a point where they walking together, they talking this and that and other, you know, and I'm gonna stop right there. Now, let me ooze. Let me just ooze. Let's just ooze on back to the Making 7, well, what's there, you know, left of it. And talk about, you know, oh, girl's in there, she done got in there and she's in the room looking for something or whatever. They trying to find food. The younger one is in there with her, and I don't know if y'all have realized what is happening as far as he's concerned. Now, I can't say she got her eyes on him, but he got her eyes on her. You know, it's in the makings, and we already know what kind of dissension gonna come behind that. 3 dicks and 1 coochie. Now, one of them don't give a fuck about her. That one with the burnt face, he don't give a fuck about shit. But let's say $2 and 1 piece of puss. Come on now. So, she looks under this thing and they find this man and she screams and they get him. And it's like, we're going to throw his ass off, and they arguing. It's like, he going to show us. He's like, I know how. The one with the burnt face said, I told you can't trust none of them. And he ought to know better than others, because now I want to take you back to the house where old dude, the master's in there, and his mistress, his bondage mistress, old girl's mother, she's getting a drink in there. He locks the door and shit, grabs her and kisses her and all of that. And she said, I say when. And he's like, we ain't been able to be together and blah, blah, blah. And there's a moment where she thought she had full control. What she do? She do, kind of. She had to, because he didn't have her. And she was like, I say when. And he said, I'm the master, whatever. She kind of looked down and dropped her gaze. But then there was this other look in her eye. And then he said, oh, my God, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, bagging again that submissive shit that he's trying to put down. The first motherfucking bondage piece of trick. Okay. And she begins to kiss him, and they kiss and all of that, and she says, just no, just stop, you know. And he did. He let it go. Now, she goes out the door, and then Beelzebub, he's up on the steps, and he sees her leaving. Now, you know how he was looking at her motherfucking ass when she said, beg your pardon, but the baby is going to be a little cold. So he got his eyes on her motherfucking ass. Now, there's this point that I want to bring up with the man who came, the first motherfucking butler. And she's in there, she's drinking some liquor, whatever. She's talking about, oh, girl whom she killed and why she did things. And she said exactly what I knew. Now, y'all remember I said that they were more enslaved, really, more so than the ones out in the field. But then they put such a divide between them that each one envied and hated each other. And that hatred in our community of each other is still in there. That Willie Lynch shit is still hot and heavy. And here's the thing, though. You better know that Willie Lynch was one of them dirt poor ass, hillbilly ass, huckabuck inbred. He's probably his own motherfucking dad and brother at the same time. But what he said motherfucking worked, because that shit still going on now. You still got bitches arguing about, you know what I'm saying, throwing shade to lighter skin and darker skin and this whole shit. You know what I'm saying? And the men do it too, but you don't hear about that shit as much. This is why I was saying, I will always continue to say this, why they can have that motherfucking Greek life. I don't want it. I don't want it. Period. And I'm not glazed by it. I don't have a desire to say that I'm a part of the club, because I know what it was built and made on. I know what it was all about when it began. I already know, but be happy about that. See, I ain't trying to do no rituals and shit. It ain't been but one sacrifice worth talking about, and that would be the one when Jesus died on Calvary for us. The rest of that shit y'all do. Yeah, I don't want to know the secrets and all of that. I don't want to know the catacalls and this and that and the third. But what I do know is how it began. And we looking at that shit right the fuck now. Sorors and all of that. Stop it. Anywho, but you'll probably talk about black history and your blackness all day long. It was the thirst of wanting to have just that thing in the colleges and shit, you know. You somewhat was supposed to be rich Negroes wanting to have what the white college students had. So you were so greedy for that. Come on. Anywho, but I do have to say, to each his own. It's just that I can have, I can have a little togetherness if I want to at the church or whatever. I don't think I could sleep easy at another motherfucker's house I never met before in my life just because you was in the same sorority name. But then I'm gonna go. I'm Kentucky, you from New York. I mean, you know what I'm saying? But to each his own, y'all. The thing of it is, and I'm sure at some point, and I know that they give a lot to charities, but to me, when I look at this, that's all I can think of. Whenever I look at old girl who had kids with the master, and look at old girl that she killed, all I could think of was the first hazing, and out her mouth came just what I knew. I was envious, I was jealous, I killed her. So it wasn't even about her child that she killed her for real. It was that envy, but keep telling yourself you did it for her. You can't say you did it for her, and then Beaton already said that she was envious. You know what I'm saying? She could read. She had a man. Okay, sorry, y'all had to go in that spiel because every time I talk about her, that's all I think about. You know, it is. It really is all I think about. But with that being said, I have to say people have the right to do what they want to do. It just wasn't for me. It will never be for me. So moving forward. Because to me, that is the saddest part, just seeing her and just seeing how the ones that work under her. It seems like she has privilege, but she doesn't. She has privilege to nothing. She has the privilege of being treated like less than a dog by his wife, because his wife know who he fuck and who he want. His wife know that most of them children that didn't come out of her pussy was spawned from him and her daddy. From women who was not her mother. So let's move forward. So she's in there saying all that. Meanwhile, she's in there and he comes in and he's getting something, and it looks like, one of them looked like it might be a beet and something else. It looked like he cracked the egg maybe. And it wasn't red enough, and he's doing these stripes and shit. And then he takes a bit of his blood, and I said, that means something. It's something about his look, it means something. Now, some of y'all might say, well, it's just the paint. And this and that and other. But I just feel like it's something else. I believe another door is going to be open. Now, there's this point in this scene where the little boys, now this will be the third time that Beelzebub has had to put his eyes on Miss Thing. What she had or whatever. There's the white baby, and then there's the, they share the same daddy, but different mothers. And they're making this silly little face, and he leans down, and they doing this little face, and he opens his mouth, and his tongue has been cut out. Now, that's what it looks like to me. His tongue has been removed. And then you got Beelzebub sitting over there painting, but he's glancing, and he's looking at them playing together. He knows they brothers. He's there for a reason. Now we come up on them being baptized, and this and that and other. And yet again, like I said, another thing that we argue about, that people argue about now. See, I believe that Jesus is, Lord, and God, God is God of all. You understand what I'm saying? This whole thing of, they are not in line willingly. They are not being baptized willingly. Although they did hear him, the guy that has the eye missing when the wife was killed, him talk about the Lord. So, they're being forced, but they do know exactly who it is. Now, Miss Honey Cabbage is up next, and she's like, I'm ready. She's like, because she said when she was sitting there, I did it for my child. Now, don't God have to forgive me for that? Do we? God ain't got to do nothing but be what he said. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. So she gets in there and is like, I'm ready. And if she walks, he helps her like he gonna be helpful. And I know Beelzebub's about to do something. Just as after he got through saying, do you accept? And she, And then he leans in and he said, Jezebel, I see you. And she's like, I hope that bitch is thinking about how to poison this motherfucker. Now, you might have to do something deeper than that, because you're dealing with Beelzebub. He dunks her, and it seems like he's keeping her down there longer. Now, to me, I was thinking, if I was producing that scene right then, I wonder if he thought about maybe having him to leave her down there, since he's coming in so strongly with his Quaker conviction, and this and that and the third. And it wasn't nothing that could be said. You get what I'm saying? The master couldn't do shit. And the slaves couldn't have did shit. She just been drowned. But he brought her up, but he kept her down there a good little while. Anywho, so that's what I got on that part. Now let's ooze on back. Let's go ahead and ooze on back to the little boy. And y'all, this one was kind of, I know this is kind of long-winded, but anyway. So, the son and the dad, they got this hoe with him, and they go into the town, go in the saloon, and got the son in there, and he's looking at her the whole time, got his baby in there with all them whores. But, I mean, And turns out the daddy done paid her, because he'd watched his son looking. I guess then it's like, well, shit, he can shoot and try to save my life. Why can't he have some good? So, again, that distorted mentality, because clearly he's a child. Today it would be called molestation, but okay. She comes and talks to him or whatever. He goes upstairs. It wasn't too long after that, the hoe knocking on the door, and he's like, what do you want? I got you for him, for my son. And she's like, don't you? And goes through this whole thing, gets the knife and shit. And, she done got into bed with him and threw down, and the next day the sheets is bloody and shit. I guess they was cutting and fucking all night. Now, the son comes in and sees him in the bed. He come get his book and his letter. He's like, I'm going to the post, and I'll see you after this and shit. You paid for me to get the coochie, and you got it all. He gone. So, next thing, they kind of riding again, and they went out the hoe. And this gentleman come up on him saying exactly who he was, yada, yada, this and the third. Now, let me pause there, because I need to go back to the boat, and I need to talk to Moses' silliness and what he's saying, because they don't have anything else. Oh, girl is gone. He's saying she can drag them, she can swim. He's trying to get the birds, but he is just trying to help them get to freedom. She's even at this point looking like, what? As he's saying stuff, he's just trying anything. So she's kind of giving up on him, and there was a point where he told her, you can go back if you want to. So it's, it's getting a little shaky or whatever. She sees the writing on the wall. Now, later on, burnt face, no good ass. And y'all, let me mention this. Oh, girl, her mother, the scene where she was in there drinking and talking about what she did, she said, it's something about being around them that changes you. And I need to say that, because I think I mentioned this before. Yes, it does. Because burnt face, I thought he had humanity. He does not. He acts more and more like them. Even, you know what I'm saying? He just acts just like them. He has nothing but hatred, really, for any other thing black. He hates everything. And he gotta hate his motherfucking self. So, he done had a spat with old girl, and it's like, you ought to go on or whatever. Here we are the next day. He's out there struggling with the younger dude, claiming he's teaching him how to cut and the knife. And, they supposed to be, he's showing them they practicing or whatever. He cuts the guy, and he's like, why you have to cut me? He's like, cause you need to know, no, that's the treachery in you. That's the treachery that you got from them, when they let you hold that whip and all of that, when, you picked up that treachery. Meanwhile, Moses done tied the shit off and he goes to get her, she gone. He comes immediately, he's like, what did you do to her? And he's like, man, just cause I don't want her don't mean I'm the reason why she gone. So Moses hanging over and he's like, you think I don't know that you did something to him? To old dude to end up getting killed, that you had something to do with that? And they going through the whole shit. And they, they realize she's gone, this, that, and the third. Now, about this time, old dude, they talking and he's like, oh, I'm, the ones that's supposed to be catching the slaves, and this a new dude. Turns out that he must have paid the hoe more than, that must have been the hoe's pimp, because she done told him everything. So they got him, and he's like, I'm so-and-so, and why don't we try to get this money together? That's another alternative, He got these other guys with him, And then his son says, there's a letter from the, saying that the mother is gone. And the dude said, oh, well, that is another option. All of a sudden, they got to leave, and the boat's out there, and Moses is doing what he's doing. They just fiddle-faddling, and the young one looks up, and he sees the white folks right there waiting on that boat to get there, ready to shoot, and do all of that. They try to get down. And then you hear these, whatever sounds or whatever. She's still gone, but lo and behold, there's the Indians. That old dude got cut by with the, spears and shit. They done dropped half of them motherfuckers out there. Because, see, the Indians kind of came to their sense, and they had sense enough to at least try to fight back. If we're going to die fighting. So, they get shot down, and there she is with them in a whole new dress and looking right Indian herself. Anywho, y'all, that's how it went the hell down. Moses happy to see her, and I'm like, okay. So now, okay, y'all, this is a long one because it was a lot going on. It was a lot to be talked about and how I felt about all the different scenes, and y'all just love this show. I really do. I talked to my mother about it, and she was like, I ain't into it. You seen one slave movie, you seen them all, and I said, mama. I mean, of course, one thing that reigns supreme, and it's, a few things gonna be there. White folks gonna own, black folks, they gonna mistreat, kill, murder, do this and that and other, but there's determination in this movie, and the mention of the Indians and all of that. So this one was good, y'all. We're going to see what happens next week. Y'all tell me how y'all feel about it. Am I the only one that thinks that guy, the butler, now it's going to be some stink in the shit. I see from the next episode, because the little boy, they going to be out in the cabin, honey. He going to be waving to the little white boy. And mama said, and then the mama told him it ain't going to get no better. You better know. It got something to do with Beelzebub that's there. Now, do y'all think that his butler, what was he doing with that blood and shit? Just tell me. Y'all tell me how y'all felt about this episode. Sorry this video was so long, but I hope that y'all hung in there with me and rode my underground roller coaster with me. Oh, I didn't even mention this. I'm sorry. Old dude that went with the marshals or whatever, they ran into his friend, and he had to come up with something and say, oh, he hit you and hit me, and, old dude is still on to them. And they was under the house, under the underground saying, we're going to leave now. He's going to get the black dude that said, help me. He's going to get him out of there, but turns out that they caught him, and the white guy was able to make it back. And y'all, did he have, like, scars cut in his face? Was that like a brand they put on him, I guess, for other white folks to know that he was helping them to get out? The other guy's like, she's like, what you gonna do? He's like, whatever I need to do to save old dude. But by now, they done hung him and cut his nether regions off, just out of pure. I'm gonna get off, y'all. I'm gonna get off of here. Y'all leave y'all thoughts. Drop it down below.